Hi, my name is Chelsea Spence, and I chose growth mindset in the classroom and at home as my topic. Originally, I wanted to research growth mindset and assessment and gear my presentation more towards staff development, but as I did my research, I realized I would be better served to use this presentation to introduce growth mindset to parents and explain how it would be fostered in the classroom and how it could be fostered at home. So I'm going to give this presentation as if I were speaking to parents at our back to school night, where I have, I think, about 15 minutes that's dedicated specifically to parents of my math class students. So here we go. Your first question might be, what is growth mindset? Well, there are two different types of mindsets, and I have a quote here that summarizes both pretty well. Chris Jansen, which I'm probably butchering that name, in 2016 stated that mindset comes in two distinct styles. People with a fixed mindset believe that traits are given or fixed, and that talent alone fosters success. On the other hand, people with a growth mindset believe that their abilities are simply a launching pad for growth and development. People with growth mindsets love to learn, and more importantly, they show resilience, which is critical to success. The picture there highlights some thoughts that students might have with the different mindsets. A student with a growth mindset would view failure as an opportunity to grow, whereas a fixed mindset student would see failure more as a limit of their capabilities. So you can see why we would want our students to have more of a growth mindset and believe that they have the ability to accomplish any goal they set for themselves. You can also check out our classroom blog to view a short video that explains growth mindset a little bit more. Why am I telling you this? What's so important about growth mindset? Well, research shows that students are often unmotivated and exhibit behavior problems when they have the fixed mindset that they are unable to accomplish things in the classroom. And even the most high-achieving students suffer when set with a fixed mindset because they are actually afraid of a challenge and therefore they never really reach their fullest potential. I think that everyone hopes that students are able to develop the ability to persevere through difficult tasks, and we have the opportunity to help them do so. So I'm going to spend a few minutes telling you some ways that I plan to help develop a growth mindset in your student here at school, and ways that you as a parent can help foster a growth mindset at home. Because I believe that together as a team, we can instill in your child that they are truly able to accomplish anything they set their mind to, if they are willing to put in the work. One of the first ways that I plan to help all students develop a growth mindset is by allowing them to be challenged. I will present them with material that will force them to work hard. I think many of us can probably remember a time in math class when we were taught how to solve a problem and then asked to repeat this process several times over. This type of learning can be beneficial for certain skills, but it doesn't really help students to develop problem solving and critical thinking skills. Masters in 2013 stated that when teachers assign tasks only within students' current capabilities, they risk not challenging and stretching students, and they minimize learning by keeping students within their comfort zones. So, I plan to take your child out of their comfort zone at times, and they might struggle, but hopefully they will learn and they will grow. And this doesn't mean that I will allow your child to reach a frustration level. I will be there as a guide when they really get stuck, and hopefully through questioning, I will get them back on track and motivated to solve the problems really on their own. It is important that students take charge of their own learning, and one of the best ways to do this is to have students set personal goals. Our math curriculum is divided into 7 modules, so your child will take a pre-assessment for each module. The pre-assessments will allow both us as a 3rd grade team and your child to identify areas of strengths and areas of growth. And from these, I'm going to have your child write specific learning goals that they can accomplish, so that way they know exactly what their focus is going into the module. They will revisit their goals often and assess them themselves to see how far they've come. They will get to take pride in their work as they one by one record that they have successfully mastered their goals. And if they don't master them, then we will come together and develop a new plan or strategy. But the ultimate goal is for students to outperform themselves. We don't want them comparing themselves to other students, but we want them to try to beat their previous goal. Martin and Martin in 2015 stated that growth goals may make it clear to a student what they need to strive for to outperform a previous best. I actually just recently learned something that I found pretty dumbfounding and amazing. Bowler quotes in her text Mathematical Mindsets, that research that found that every time a student makes a mistake in math, they grow a synapse. Their brain actually develops when they make a mistake, even if they do not realize that they are making a mistake. The brain develops much more when making mistakes than when getting problems correct. So I will tell your child this because in the classroom, we are going to celebrate mistakes. Mistakes will lead to great discussions so that all students are able to benefit from the mistake of one child. We will congratulate students who make mistakes as they have just experienced brain growth. And when they are able to share their mistake, they will allow us to learn and grow along with them. Bowler also states that one of the most powerful moves a teacher or parent can make is changing the messages that they give about mistakes and wrong answers in mathematics. So in our classroom, mistakes will be celebrated just as much as correct answers, because this is how we learn. If you're new to the district and you're not familiar with the hybrid model approach that our school uses, your child will often rotate each class period between 3 different stations: an independent station, a collaborative station, and a direct instruction station with the teacher. During that collaborative time, students will work together to solve real-world, challenging, and authentic problems that involve math. Here, they will learn from each other as they must explain their mathematical thinking. They will be exposed to different methods to solving the same problem, and they will be asked to justify their reasoning. They will teach each other at times. McGlynn and Kozlowski in 2016 emphasized that student collaboration is a key part of learning in the 21st century classroom. They go on to explain the importance of accountability. Oftentimes, students in my class may be assigned a different role to help ensure that all students are actively engaged and participating. McGlynn and Kozlowski also emphasize how important it is that clear expectations are given for what group work should look like. Okay, and we know in 3rd grade they can struggle with that sometimes. So we will spend the first few weeks of school practicing this and learning the language of teamwork. Because let's face it, working collaboratively, is a skill that our students will likely need far beyond 3rd grade. So how can you help at home? Well, the first way is to be careful with your choice of words, and this is something that I'm still continuing to work on. We need to praise students more for their hard work and their growth, rather than saying things like, "You're so smart." Research shows that when we praise students incorrectly by telling them that they are smart, they begin to believe that intelligence is an innate skill. And this is a problem because if something doesn't come easily to them, then they question whether they really are smart, and this can hurt their self-esteem. So when we praise their hard work and something doesn't come easily, then they're more motivated to work that much harder to attempt to solve. They develop the ability to persevere, which is a crucial skill. Chris Jansen in 2016 also stated that praising doesn't foster self-esteem and accomplishment. It jeopardizes them when developing a growth mindset. People need positive encouragement to go further and to do more. Chris Jansen was actually discussing growth mindset and how it relates to employees in the job market. She stresses that bosses have the capability to force teams into fixed mentalities that prevent learning and growth. This causes teams to worry about being judged and what the boss thinks, rather than what the customers think or need in the marketplace. And this applies to our children. We need them to understand that we are not proud of good grades that they might be receiving, but by how hard they are willing to work. Just like we plan to do here, also celebrate mistakes at home when they can be turned into learning opportunities. Though I do realize that not every mistake is worth celebrating, so don't get me wrong there. Here's a picture that shows some growth mindset language that we plan on using here at school. Help your child use similar language outside of the classroom so that they can truly develop a growth mindset in all aspects of their life. The ability to work hard and persevere is something we want for our kids to be able to apply to any endeavor that they might set out for. So you can see some examples there, and I know that some are hard to read. But instead of saying things like, "I don't understand," encourage students to ask, "What are they missing?" and guide them to look back and try to figure it out on their own. Instead of students viewing something as being too hard, help students to understand that it might take more time and effort, but it will be worth it. When your child cleans their room, instead of having them have the mentality that it's good enough, ask them if it's really their best work. Previously, I actually taught 4th grade for 2 years, and so I know how helpful it can be when students are familiar with their basic math facts. In 3rd grade, students begin the journey of learning their multiplication and division facts, and I recognize that all students learn differently. So I plan to provide students with several quick and easy activities that your child can practice at home to help them become familiar with their facts. We'll also be doing some activities here in school, with just 5 minutes of homework at night with studying their math facts will be very beneficial in 4th grade. So you can help by ensuring that they're choosing a method that engages them and helps them make growth. And students will also be asked to just answer a reflection question of their choice on the day's lesson to get them thinking about the importance of what they are learning. And this could be a really great conversation starter at home, and it will allow your child to be able to explain what they are learning. And you can use this as a communication tool to help your child develop their ability to reflect. And reflection is a really crucial part of learning. As far as assessment, well, I will be sending home a sheet after each module that will show only how much growth your child displayed from the pre-assessment to the post-assessment. I will not include their actual grade because I don't want students to focus on the letter grade. But I will highlight all the different skills that are areas of strengths and the skills that they showed were areas of growth. This way you have a pretty good idea of how your child will have performed on each assessment. But make sure that at home you're celebrating their growth, and feel free to work with them or discuss strategies that they can use to improve on their areas of growth. And that about sums up my presentation on growth mindset. And if you have any questions about assessments, homework, anything discussed here, or anything throughout the school year, please feel free to contact me anytime. All right, thanks for listening.